Right. How are you? Good to be here. Thanks for tuning in to the Romance Podcast. Romance is in the air. I hope everybody out there had a wonderful Valentine's Day with their partner. I had a good one. I did all the stuff. Um, I like Valentine's Day. I like it because you can choose to like it. I think a lot of people don't get that about dumbass holidays. Because there's a lot of people that are like, well, it's just a fucking corporate marketing scheme. It's just to get you to go buy shit. That doesn't mean that you love somebody. It's like, yeah, obviously, dickhead. But also, it's nice to get those things. It feels good. And it feels good to get it for other people. You know what I mean? Like, it's because you have one or two options. It's like, you can either participate and try and have a good time, or you can just not participate, and that doesn't feel good. Because, like, while everyone is out at dinner, you're going to be sitting home with your girlfriend watching TV, just being like, see, babe, we're fucking smarter than them. We're so much fucking smarter than them. Is the food I made not better than some fucking restaurant spending a bunch of money? And she's like, yeah, no, this is great. You're so much smarter than this holiday. You are just too smart to give a shit, I guess. I guess that's your thing. You're just too smart to, I don't know, maybe just go out, get a box of, I don't know, nails even. Just fucking something, you know? Just once, maybe we could do something. You could stop explaining to me that St. Valentine is actually a Celtic ritual. I don't care, okay? I would like a thing, please. It's nice. It's just nice to do, you know? If you don't put pressure on it, like if you're in some sort of relationship where it's like the gift itself matters so much, then that's pretty fucked up. You know what I mean? That's fucked up to go out and get someone something and they're like, you fucked this up. You fucked this up big time. It's like, it's a gift. A gift is a risk. It's the whole, I'm giving it to you out of nowhere. I'm not going to come and consult your Valentine's Day gift. But me and my girlfriend don't do that. We agreed on tiny, nice little gifts. I got her a couple of books, which I realized was gay as hell. I don't know why I did that. I forgot people get like sexy gifts on Valentine's Day. I forgot that was a whole thing. That it was, people would get like lingerie and shit. But I was like, oh, well, you know, I've mentioned this book to her, and, you know, saw this book at the library I thought she might like. Not the library. What if I just checked out a book from the library and gave it to her? I was like, bring it back in a week, but you didn't have to go get it. I can't, saying this out loud, I realize is very unsexy. She liked it. She was like, oh, I've been wanting to read. It was good. But she got me like a something to put in my ass. Like a thing. It looks like it's almost like a thick, bubbly witch finger with like two pieces of plastic with bulbs on the end that come off that touch your like balls and under your asshole or some shit. But it's this weird thing that I guess if you put it in, it touches your prostate and you just jizz hard. And I've had stuff in my ass before, but it's all basic tools. It's all rudimentary, like a dildo or just a real penis, like basic tribal tools, you know? Sort of like the first spears that were made, you know, out of sharpened rocks. But this is like high technology. This is like German engineering. Like it's precise. And it doesn't vibrate. It's just made to put in, and then if you squeeze your asshole enough, it'll just poke the prostate until you come. Like they've synced down the technology to like the bare essentials. It's like when iPhone came out, you know, and it was like the first really good touchscreen, you know what I mean? It's like, how does it work? It's just so simple. How's it gonna, but it's the future. So she got me that, and I immediately was like, why did I get books? Why did I get... And I got books because we agreed on light gifts. And I wouldn't get her just a book for, like, a Christmas or a birthday. I like to get something nice. I was like, well, Valentine's Day, we said, like, I'll get her some light, some light reading. And then she was like, do you want to come super fucking hard from your asshole? And I was like, yeah, obviously. I don't know why I wasn't going up that alley. You went up the right alley. So I don't know. I haven't used it yet. But could be a great thing in my life. Pretty excited about it. Maybe I'll do it on the podcast. Get banned from YouTube, but I could sit. This is a really not sturdy table. Maybe I could kind of get lay on my back with my legs out here and the camera right there. And I could see how many asshole contractions of the prostate gland simulator it takes to get to the center of my dick coming. We could see that. Could do a poll if you guys want to bet on it. It will be on DraftKings. How long it takes me to come from this shit in my ass. I mean, I would really take the under on the over-under. You know what I mean? I would really take the under. It seems like precise technology. Yeah, and that's nice. That's nice that she went out and did that, and I got her books. We went out to a nice dinner. It was good, but it was such a great restaurant. They only fucked us in one way because it was a Valentine's Day. It was like a nicer restaurant, not crazy, but nicer. And they had a Valentine's Day thing where you pay in advance, and it's like a set coursed meal. There's different options in the course, but it's a 3-course meal you pay in advance. And then we show up, and we just had to fucking wait. Still, because they overbook it. It's fucked up. Besides that, we got in, and I had a reservation at another place, but it didn't have enough. It was too expensive, first off. And it was expensive, but it just didn't, I knew it wasn't going to be that exciting. Because the decor like the walls were white, and it was very modern looking. And I don't want that in an Italian restaurant. What I want is an Italian restaurant decorated by a middle-aged Italian man. So it doesn't look great, but it does have a look, and it does have a weird amount of character. So this place is very small and is decorated by just probably the whoppiest wop that's ever fucking lived. I mean, I don't know, this Mario and Luigi ass motherfucker. I don't know who decorated this, but you can tell it's just an Italian guy who they did not hire a decorator. He just came. They have the Mona Lisa on the wall, like a poster, like a hard poster, like a stiff poster, not framed is my point, of just the Mona Lisa on the wall. And you're like, this is the most Italian. Like an Italian man came over from Italy to start an authentic Italian restaurant in L.A. And they're like, what are you going to decorate it with? He's like, the Mona Lisa. What do I put in my restaurant? What about the most famous painting in the entire world? That's sort of the vibe that I'm trying to set. But it was good. The food was amazing. The vibe was much better. Saved like $150 on the whole meal. So everything worked out okay. There was a lady taking herself out to dinner on Valentine's Day. Me and my girlfriend did have a discussion about that. She came out on top. But it was funny because before we found out that she was alone, we were outside waiting for a table, and there were just 3 people talking, and they were just chatting it up like they fucking knew each other for 15 minutes. We had to wait way too fucking long. Made me feel like a fucking chump. We need to get this podcast off the ground, okay? Once this podcast is off the ground, I can walk into any Italian restaurant and not have to wait a damn second. There was this group of 3 people talking, and there was 2 of the people were obviously a couple, and then one was that lady. And my girlfriend just kept being like, damn, this is bad third wheel energy. Like, this is rough to be around. She is so goddamn annoying. And then she just went in, got her name called, and went in and ate alone with my girlfriend. Like, the thoughts about that girl really changed. Because at first, because we were talking shit, we were like, why the fuck is this lady third wheeling their friend's Valentine's Day date? Like, were their friends like, no, you can come out with us. Who cares? Whatever. It doesn't matter. You can come out with us. And it's like, you gotta pick up the pieces for this? No. But she was alone, and at first we did not like her. But then it came out, and we were like, you know what? Good. You know what? Good for her. I liked her more because of how good the food was. So I was like, oh, good for her. She's been here before, and she was like, you know what? I don't want to sit home on Valentine's Day. I'm going to go out and have a meal. You know, that being said, stop bumming everybody out, okay? It did, you know what I did think about? It's like, listen, it is whatever. It's nice, I guess. But also, if you don't have a partner on Valentine's Day, it is not your night. It's just not your night to go out. It's the night to stay in, okay? You can order in. You can do that. You don't have to cook. That's okay. But this place sat, there were probably less than 30 tables in the whole place. Even that might be generous. It was a very small restaurant. And she's taking up a table. I mean, this is prime LA eating. In a very cute, small, authentic Italian place. A perfect place for Valentine's Day. And absolutely, Saint Valentino himself would have ate there. And she's taking up a table. That's the problem, is me and my girlfriend, it's not a problem, it's actually what makes dinner amazing. But it's a roller coaster because we just can't stop looking at other tables and talking to other tables, sometimes engaging other tables. We're just thinking about other tables, building narratives about other tables. So, I mean, at first this lady was a third wheel, then she figured he wasn't. Then we were like, well, it's nice for her to bring her out. And then she was like, and then we were like, you're taking up a fucking table on Valentine's Day. You're fucking everyone over here, okay? And now she kind of honestly ended bad for me. And she didn't know she was being judged the entire time. She didn't deserve that. She was just trying to take herself out. But it was a great time. Lady brought her dog. Not into that. They didn't let it in. She had to sit outside. But I mean, I didn't get that. It's like this couple comes out on Valentine's Day. This woman has her very excited small wiener dog, and she's holding it sitting at a table. Also, no leash. I don't know what kind of life some people are living, but this lady brought the dog out in a blanket and just held it, but with no leash. So the entire time I was having Valentine's Day dinner, I was like, how the hell is that lady eating outside? Is she just over a biting dog for an hour? I don't know. Yeah. Valentine's Day is good. I like it. It's fun to participate. You should just participate. Don't put a lot of pressure on it. But it's a good time because it makes you feel good. And it's, it's just cute. It's just a cute-ass day. You deserve just a cute-ass day. I got C's Candies for her, which is the candy shop that I like. Premier Los Angeles chocolates. When I got her a box of those and I was walking through the Glendale Galleria with the C's Candy box, everybody's looking at me, young guy, C's Candy box. Valentine's Day. And everybody knows what's going on. And I like that. I like walking around and be like, look at me, I'm doing my job. Look at me, I'm being a nice guy. I'm doing the thing you do today. I like that. I like when holidays, sometimes you can be annoyed by them, or you can be like, you know what? If you follow this day, all this is an opportunity to just do the right thing. To do good that day. Then you're a good guy. Because it's saying, like, all you have to do is do these couple of small traditions. And if you do, then you're not a piece of shit to one person in the world. And maybe most people on earth would say, why do you need that? Can't you just assume that? And I say, no, I need it in facts. When the world says, listen, if you go out and you buy chocolates and flowers, somebody is going to think you're a pretty nice guy. That's exciting. And I know that you can do that every day. And you should do it every day. But it's nice because Valentine's Day is just like, just do it. It's just something you got to do now. You got to love Aaron. Uh-oh. Love Aaron coming from the heavens, you know? So that was good. I went to get flowers. It was interesting getting flowers. I went to kind of a small. I realized maybe it was one of these deceptive Silver Lake flower shops, or I don't know, Echo Park kind of. It's like on the east side of LA, the east side of Hollywoodish area more so. You know, it's like a hipster. So it's like stuff doesn't look fancy. It looks rustic, but you pay fancy prices for that rustic. So this was kind of a rustic looking flower shop, but I spent $36 on 6 roses. And I don't know flower prices, but I was like, that's kind of a lot. I know roses are a lot, but you know, the place is it's nice, but it's like it's real. You know what I mean? It's like a little messy and it's great and they have good stuff, but it's like you feel like you're in like a movie kind of flower shop where it's busy and there's like it's almost like a little maze, but you're paying for that. It was interesting to see though how different dudes bought flowers because I went in and I just went to the lady at the counter and I was like, "Can I just get 6 red, white, and pink assorted roses in a bouquet?" And she was like, "Got it." And then she wrapped that up in the paper and a little piece of twine, rustic. Once again, you're paying. That twine is $1,000 per yard. But she wrapped it up. It looked exactly what I thought it was going to look like. It was good. And I looked around. I was looking at one guy. I clocked him when I came in. He was walking around. He looked like he had his own paper that they wrapped flowers in. I don't know where he got that. And he was picking flowers and making his own bouquet. I want to go up to him and be like, who the fuck? Okay. I envied him really because I was like, oh, I know the feeling he has. I know the feeling he has of being like, this is such a nice thing. I'm fucking picking the bouquet. And then he shows it to his girlfriend. He's like, I don't know if it's right, but, you know, and she's like, it's perfect. You know what I mean? And I was like, you know, he's right. But also, I'm a fucking idea man, okay? I went in there with a vision, related to the people who are boots on the ground, and they got the job done, okay? I'm like Steve Jobs. Do I have the skill to execute? No. Do I have the desire for new things to be given to me? Yes. And the world to be created in my image with minimal effort? Correct. And that's how I got my bouquet. And he had all the different fancy twigs, you know, like nobody wants just a regular straight up bouquet anymore. He was putting in all these like little pieces of a tree in there to make it look like a fairy picked it. But I got respect for my woman. Okay. I give her a classic bouquet, and she said, yeah, I like a classic bouquet. And I said, okay. And then there's one other guy. He was fucking up. He was really fucking up. He went straight to the refrigerator where they have the pre-made bouquets, and they're in vases. But you know, like the short vases, like the short, wide vases, and the bouquet comes out, and the whole thing is not much bigger than that. It almost just looks like a mushroom the way it's all potted, instead of like a taller vase that kind of blooms. I don't know. He got one of those, and it was $120. And it was like very fucking boring. You're paying mostly for vase. But I was like, these are the 3 kinds of people. There are the guys that, you know, want to do their own thing and they pick the flowers themselves and they make their bouquet. And then there are the guys that are like, I love collaboration. I was like, can you make this happen? Here's an idea, bring it to life. You know, I love sharing the act of creation. And then there's guys that are fucking dumb as shit. Just fucking full-blown fucking idiots. Just picking out bouquets of flowers for no fucking reason. I mean, there's no point to do it. Honestly, too, I heard him talking in the flower shop, and the lady was explaining to him how to drive with it home. And I was like, this is getting all over his car. He's literally going to take this, put it on the floor, brake too hard. It's going to slowly tip over on one side. Water's going to go everywhere. The flowers are going to fall out of place. And then he's going to try and lift it back in, and it's just going to look wet, and it's going to be discombobulated, and he's going to have no idea how they configured the flowers in that way. But now he realizes the wetness is also kind of fucking that up. So he wants to see if he can dry the flowers, but he doesn't know how to do that. So he just puts the window open, and that just kind of makes them like, just get soft and you know. But I mean, yeah, it was a hectic ass day in the flower shop. But yeah. I had a weird moment too in the bookstore. It was in the same Silver Lake area. It was a moment that, to me, I mean, I noticed it. It didn't really bother me. It's not completely foreign to me, but I realize now that if you were from a different part of the state of the United States, if you're a different part of the United States, this might stick out to you as a very LA person. But I was in a bookshop in the hipster part of LA, in a kind of a hipster bookshop, you know, like a standalone independent, but the guy that owns it's probably a millionaire. And I was buying a book, and next to me was a 40-year-old man, balding, not overweight, in a t-shirt, shorts, had a mask on and a backpack on. And he bought his books, and they give you a free bookmark. And he was like, "Oh, you can take that back. I just want to save paper." And then he just started asking the woman at the bookstore if they were aware of an organization for homeless people that he works for. And I assumed that he was trying to somehow get the bookstore involved. But honestly, I kind of eavesdropped on that conversation while I was checking out, and that never really came up. But I was thinking about that guy. I was like, damn, that guy, you know, I mean, I grew up in the Valley, a suburb of LA. I'm around those types of LA people, white people. But to other people, they'd be like, I am going to kick this guy's ass. To other people, that guy would be, everything he thinks and says would just be insane to so many people in the country. Like if he went to like some small town in Arkansas and walked into a diner and was like, "Hey, I'm new in town. Do you know about any community outreach organizations that are local within walking distance? Maybe if there's any public transit that can go to them?" They'd be like, "No, but I have a gun and I'm going to shoot." You know what I mean? Like they would hate him. They would hate that guy. But good for him. I mean, he gets to thrive, and he's helping out homeless people, as far as I can tell. Or he's doing something evil with them. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he's giving them masks, but the masks have, arsenic, and they just breathe it in and die. I don't know. I don't know what he does with the homeless people. All I know is that he works with them. That'd be funny if that guy started like telling you about his homeless outreach and stuff, and then you were like, "Oh, do you ever like fuck with them?" Just like if you were in a conversation with a person that does charity like that, but you really don't want to talk to them. I think that's the way to get out of it. They're like, I work for a nonprofit, and we help out the unhoused in LA, and you're just like, "Oh, cool, yeah." Do you ever just kind of like slap them around? And they're like, "What?" I don't know. Just saying, like, you ever like just fucking hit them with the hose or some shit? What do you do? And they're like, "No, we feed them." And you're like, "All right, man, I'm just asking. I'm just trying to be cool. I don't know. I don't know anything about what you do, man. I don't know what you do. What do you feed them? You feed them like fucking Sour Patch hot sauce? You ever give them like a fucking ghost pepper or some shit? Watch how much they freak out. Do you ever do that with the homeless? You don't? Okay, all right. I don't know anything. I don't do charity, man. Like, you're fucking like Jesus to me, bro. Like, I don't live that life. I don't know about that. That'd be cool. I mean, that's a pretty good tactic. It's definitely something you can use. I don't know. I watched the fucking Super Bowl. Yeah, more like the fucking Scripter Bowl. It's a script. I don't know. I recorded an episode of this podcast yesterday, and the volume was off the whole time. So that episode got lost. And I talked about the Super Bowl. And I am glad that episode was not released because I would have embarrassed myself in front of 10 people. Not fully. I was a lot more passionate about the grab that with Juju, that grab that got called, the last call in the game, that pretty much allowed the Chiefs to just kick a field goal and end the game. It was not a bad grab, but it wasn't not a grab. I saw it again today, and they released new footage. He gets a real handful of them. That being said, I don't know. It does piss me off that, like, two teams will just play such a great game, and then at the very end of it, just some nothing call. Still, to me, a nothing. Go Birds, okay? Still, to me, just a nothing call will allow the other team to kick a field goal and win. It's like, that's not fun. It's not fun. But it's because chances are these games are decided. And that's like a big theory on Twitter. And people have had that theory for so long. But right now it's kind of trending because some football player said he got a script and was very explicit about it. And that's certain, like, you're going to get injured here. I don't know. I don't know about any of that. But I do think it makes so much more sense to rig the Super Bowl than it makes to not rig the Super Bowl. If you are the NFL. Because think about how much money you can make if you know who's going to win the Super Bowl. Especially now that fucking NFL has a deal with DraftKings and there's all of this online betting going on that hinges upon whoever the fuck wins the Super Bowl. It's one of the biggest days on that whole website's platform. Maybe the biggest. I don't know. Probably World Cup. I don't know. But fucking, I think DraftKings is just football, though. So it's like, I don't know. Is that fantasy? I'm a fucker. Listen, I don't know. But point is, whatever you're betting on, wherever you're betting, you make a lot more money knowing who's going to win the Super Bowl. And then you can just sell people that information or whatever the fuck. Or like, you know that joke how they're like, oh, they make Super Bowl championship shirts for both teams and the shirts of the team that lost go to Africa. Well, if you know who's going to win the Super Bowl, you don't even need to waste money making those shirts. And the people that make the shirts consider it a waste because they don't care about human life and giving people clothes. My point is, it's just so much fucking easier to know who is going to win the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And that sucks. But I mean, it's also like, why could they not get away with that? Because you think about when you find out that information. You find out that information after you're already in the NFL, either as a coach or a player. And you don't find it out till way late, till drafted, confirmed, till everything, till you have your fucking uniform that you have to bring to work tomorrow. And they tell you, like, you are going to lose for this team for the next 7 years, and you will bring this city nothing. And you just go, well, I could quit, and I could be a whistleblower, and nobody will believe me. Or if they believe me, it still won't change, because it's not like the FBI is going to get involved until, for some reason, a Netflix documentary makes them do that in 10 years. But it's not like they're going to get involved. And I still get to play, so I'll just make $50 million and play. And that's what I'll do, you know? Because what the fuck else are you going to do? And it's not like if you're good, it doesn't matter at all. Like, if you're good, you're still going to be good, and they're going to reward you for that if you are good. It makes it easier for them to rig games. If it's I think it's like Patrick Mahomes should be winning Super Bowls, which is why they're trying to probably ensure that he wins Super Bowls, but lost some before, so this means more, and people bet this way, And then if you're like a fucking on the second string, you're like, fuck it, man, I'll just fucking sit here. Who gives a shit? I can't change a damn thing. I'm not even famous. I'm in the NFL, and I'm not famous. I'm just big. I'm just a guy that a guy at your work is going to go like, that's Trevor Thomas right there. You know what I mean? And you're just the tallest guy in the restaurant, and then you notice maybe a couple people go like, huh? But they don't really, they just care that you are in the NFL, even if they don't. What those like, oh, that's what a professional football player looks like, and that's your life, and you're on second string, and you make millions, not a lot of millions, but you make however much money. If you're a good player, you can still be a good player on a shitty team. It's like you're not going to win a championship. People still are like, hey, he's good. It sucks for the coaches, though. Because if it's all a script, you sign a contract and they're like, yeah, all of these 8 years, it is not going to go well. And I'll tell you what, once this contract is up, you are going to want to move to another state, okay? People are going to fucking hate you. This is not going to work out at all. Like, in no way is this going to work out for you. You need to get out. But you're going to make $40 million, so you're going to do that. And they're, like, licensed as entertainment, So, I mean, I don't know. It makes sense. And that's, they do it so a few people can make a lot of money. And I will keep supporting it because I want those few people to make a lot of money. I want the commissioner of the NFL's family to be ravaged by an opiate addiction and that they'll have the money to start it and end it. You know what I mean? Just a rich guy, just pills in his house. His daughter gets into him, just fucked up for 7 years. He's just pouring tons and thousands of dollars into rehabs. And so he needs all of that illegal gambling money and all of those lies and backdoor deals and deceit to get her the help that she needs. And that's why I watch the NFL, because I want these rich kids' children to have the finances they need to destroy their lives with drugs for 4 years, then go to Passages Malibu, a luxury rehab located beachside in Malibu, California. Get clean, come home, be given a job with a 6-figure salary that they really don't actually have to do, and live the rest of their life addicted to something else that just doesn't blow everything up enough and they can maintain with. And that's what I want. I want to keep the cycle going. I want just this sort of unwritten aristocracy to continue on its merry way. I want all the rich people to stay rich. And if that means that somebody who has worked their entire life to get into the NFL will never win a Super Bowl, even if they arguably deserve it, then I guess the ends justify the means. I mean, it's about what's important here, It's about kissing the feet of our rulers, which to me is the NFL commissioner. I want his lies to be able to continue until the end of time, because that is the greatest empire. You don't conquer countries anymore, okay? You get organizations that steal America's pastime to put money into your pockets. That's what it's about, okay? That's why we started playing football in the first place. It's funny that football was invented maybe 100 years ago. Yeah, I think about 100 years ago by now. But not like, I don't think 200, it's not old at all. It's not an old game. It's just it's a derivation of rugby, because American college students, whatever, I don't know, rugby players, something. They weren't rugby. They went over, American college students, some athletes went over and looked at rugby in like Australia or somewhere. And then they came back to America and made football, which used to be much more aggressive. People would die in football because trampling and stomping and was allowed. And the offensive line, just the defense and offense going up against each other. You know how you see that in football, they crash into each other. Even if you don't watch, you know what I'm talking about. The guy's trying to get in, the guy's trying to keep them out. That used to be just a fist fight. Truly. And they didn't have helmets for a little. Some guys would wear helmets, and eventually they got the leather ones. But for a while, they just didn't think about it because they don't do that in rugby. So they would start, and then, like, football was a guy with a ball would hand it to another guy, and after he handed it, him and a bunch of other guys would get in a fight so the guy behind them could have enough time to get the ball out of his hands before he was also struck in the face with probably just a full-on closed fist. And most likely probably got hit in the face every time. Probably just every single time, even after he passed, a guy still just came up and just fucking right hooked him in the face. But it was aggressive. And but it's a young game, and it's funny that chances are, before it's even probably 150 years old, the game has already been kind of tarnished. You know what I mean? It still exists, but now it's just come to the point where what you're watching is like maybe not an actual football game. Or it's like, 90% of a football game, but a pretty important 10 is calling the shots. You know what I mean? Because that's what the Super Bowl kind of seemed like. It kind of seemed like the Chiefs were supposed to win. And then by the end, it was pretty close, and they were like, hey, let's not do this, and then a call was made, a field goal was made, and shit was over. I don't know. It's a little fishy, if you ask me. But nobody asked me. Nobody asked me since I've been fired from the NFL because I wouldn't stop smoking on the field. And I just want to say to the NFL as an entire organization, to everyone, and Troy Aikman specifically, fuck you. Fuck you. You guys should have let me smoke on the field. You were all fucking pussies. I can't focus unless I have a fucking cigarette in my mouth. I don't see why I'm an asshole. I don't see why I am incapable of coaching an offensive line when I'm chain smoking, cigarette after cigarette of light blue American spirits, packed hard. They were saying it was distracting. They were saying it was rude. They were saying they didn't want it on TV. They didn't want kids seeing me smoking. And they were also bothered by the fact that I somehow appeared in almost every camera angle in almost every single game. And I don't know how that happened either, okay? But there did seem to be some weird occurrence when I was coaching offensive line for the Dallas Cowboys that, yes, I was almost consistently, almost every second of every single game, seen smoking cigarettes in the background or sometimes foreground of the shot. But to be fired? I don't know. I find that unfair. And I've been podcasting ever since. But my roommates get mad when I smoke in my room while podcasting. It seems like maybe there's no freedom left in the world. Maybe that's the problem. I don't understand. I think I talked about that before, but there's that Republican that's trying to be allowed to smoke cigars like in the chambers of the Capitol. I think like not just in his office, like in the like he wants to be like debating with politicians, be like, and you don't know shit, like just, which is so funny that there's like people that need health care and there's just so many fucked up things in America right now. And then there's one guy that's like literally having debates of like, why can I not smoke? I'll shut up. I'll shut up. I'll shut up. If I'm an idiot, I'll shut up. I'm just wondering why I can't fucking smoke. That's a question that I have, okay? Can I vape? Am I allowed to vape? I'd like to be vaping. This is Mango. Do you want to try it? I would let you hit my vape if you let me hit it in the fucking chambers. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's it's bad politics. Hey, speaking of bad politics, I was sick for a while, so I was learning a lot about Hitler and the Nazis. I mean, if you want to talk about bad politics, Hitler and the Nazis, the band, of course. I mean, no. I mean the guys. No, I was just watching documentaries about Hitler and the Nazis, because there's so many documentaries. There's like just so many, and it's so fucked up that like it's not like it doesn't make sense just with the way everything was. But it does suck that just the most memorable guy out of all that is Hitler, and they talk about him more than anybody else. It's like funny because there are certain questions you can ask about the Holocaust, and only so many documentaries will answer them. Like if you want to know about his rise to power, about his military conquests, about the weapons that he produced, there are so many documentaries about that. That's what most of the documentaries are about. But if you want to find out about like what Germany was like before the Holocaust, or what life was like for Jews before the Holocaust, or even just the life of Jews during the Holocaust, really, that's always just as an aside. It's like they just describe it as like that's like what Hitler was doing. Most of the documentaries, they're really about the Nazis. They are still the stars of the show when it comes to the Holocaust, according to Netflix. But yeah, I watched 10 hours about his inner circle. I don't know. Those guys are it's weird because they're all of their characters remind me of like the current like Elon Musk fans for some reason. And I'm not saying that those two people are comparable at all in the way of influence or evil, but they remind me of each other. Elon Musk and his crew remind me of Hitler and Nazi supporters in that they're all just so cocky that they're doing the coolest thing. And electric cars that, in my opinion, are pieces of shit is definitely a big step up from trying to kill all the Jews. Okay, I'm not putting that on Elon, but it's the same, this weird, arrogant, evil nerd energy of like, well, we're just going to fucking figure it out. Like, we're just going to fucking do it. And then they just make just shitty cars with so many flaws that are still terrible for the fucking environment, you know, and just all the shit he's doing isn't helping anybody. And he's like, well, we're going to go to Mars. And it's like, he's just tricking people with what's exciting because it's not exciting to, I don't know, maybe spend your money to feed people on the streets. You know what I mean? But it's just this same cockiness that they're really not backing anything up, like the Nazis being like, we're going to fix everything. And then they didn't fix the economy. So they were like, distract them with anti-Semitism, which historically definitely does distract people, especially anti-Semitics. But yeah, it's like they're just all these like incelish, grummy guys with all their own little motives. Learn about Himmler, which just sounds like Hitler's name, but gay. Just take out the T, just get a soft M. That's one of Hitler's boys, Himmler. Himmler. Himmler's Day Off, coming to theaters this summer. He was out of his fucking mind. I mean, they all were. It's so funny because when I say that is I'm saying in ways that I did not know of. The obvious, yes. But he's also, they're evil, but they didn't fully realize They didn't know they were evil, and they didn't realize that what they were doing was unforgivably awful. And so, like Himmler at the end of the war, not in secrecy, they didn't want Hitler to know this. He closed down the concentration camps, and he had the gas chambers demolished. Not symbolically, it was purely to try and clean up what he did when the Russians came, so they wouldn't be mad at him. Too late, in the entire world's opinion, but he made an attempt. And he also released 1,200 Jews to Switzerland for money, which is not releasing, that's just selling people. He just turned them into slaves. It's just a hostage situation. That's really all it is. And they paid him because they had to pay him. That's the craziest part, is like he started brokering all these deals with like Switzerland and like the UN and whatever, and he agreed to release like some large amount of Jews, but only 1,200 ever left. Can you imagine a Nazi didn't come through on his deal? But he also, asked for money, which is so funny because he also met with the head of like World Jewish Organizations. There's a hair? What a waste of time. But he also met with World Jewish Organizations. Can you imagine like being like, I'm going to release 1,200 Jews, but I want 3 million francs. And then you're like a world Jewish leader and you're like, you say we're the fucking money guy? That is the most fucked up deal I've ever been a part of. All due to, it's ridiculous. He thought he was going to get away with it. He thought that doing that, he was kind of asking these other countries if he could be the leader of Germany after, which is funny because he's asking to be an undemocratic leader. Like if the political party you're in, it took over a nation and now your nation is losing a war, chances are the government that got your nation into that war is not going to stick around. And he was like, well, the rules of our government say that somebody's got to take over, and I could kind of take that place because I don't think Goering could. So, yeah, I just thought, and everybody's just like looking at him like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then the war ended, and they killed him. And they fucking killed him. Well, they didn't get to kill him, actually. He was going to be executed, but then he was in prison. He took a cyanide pill, which is crazy. There were guys out there that still loved and maybe even were, I don't know, Nazis, and would find ways to give convicted Nazi criminals cyanide pills so they could kill themselves instead of having to be hung. And it's like, you little fucking dick rider. It's over. It's over. The guy that you fucking love is being killed after you start a war, after your group killed 6 million people, or more like 8, I don't know. You stop liking the guy. Some people are martyrs. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Fred Hampton, those are martyrs. Joan of Arc, right? She was a martyr. You know what I mean? Those are martyrs. These guys, just evil people that had to die. That's the problem with martyrdom, is it's not an all over the board. And he did not die for your sins. He died for his own. He was a piece of shit. I don't know. I was watching documentaries about that. And it was funny because I was telling people about it. Because I was sick. So I wasn't leaving my house. I was just staying home and I wasn't doing anything. So this watching those is the only new thing that I had to talk about that day. So I would call my girlfriend. She'd be like, what you been up to? And I'd be like, well, fucking Hermann Goering was quite the show-off. And I realized in the course of talking about my day, I was just talking about Nazis. And I was like, well, that's not really appealing, And it is funny, as a white dude who is German, Lyden, it's derived, as a white dude like that, you can't be excited. You know what I mean? You can be interested, but you also have to be interested in other histories. You can't just be like knowing so much about Nazis and then you're like, yeah, I got no idea what the fucking Civil War was about. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't work. You gotta learn. That's why guys get into history, because they're like, learn about one war, and you're like, well, it's pretty weird if I'm only into the Civil War. I guess I should also learn about World War One. And then you're like, what happened after that? And then you're just, then all of a sudden you're 58 years old and your house is littered with Confederate and Nazi memorabilia, and you're a history buff. You caught the bug. You know what I mean? You caught the bug. That's what happens. Some people catch the bug, and then their houses are littered with Confederate and Nazi uniforms because they love history, because that's what they're into. But I don't know. It's they're terrible people. But the documentaries should be more serious sometimes, because especially some of them now are like, they used to be informational. They're just like, Hitler invaded Poland in 1939. But now they're just Hitler's coolest weapons, and they just show some fucking tank, and they want you to think it's cool. They have to make you think it's cool because it's entertainment, but they're not allowed to tell you Hitler's cool, so they have to remind you that it is the Nazis. And they shouldn't make those documentaries, because, listen, these Nazi guys, like Himmler, read books, or maybe watched documentaries if they were able to, about historical figures like Julius Caesar, and they still thought those guys were cool and then took the wrong lesson. So you got to be careful. I'm not saying you can't have a documentary. My point is this. Sometimes the obvious lesson is not taken by retarded evil people like the Nazis. Those guys wanted to be like the Roman Empire, which did not end well. Okay? Hitler wanted to be the new Julius Caesar, a guy that got stabbed like 77 times by his best friend and 50 other dudes. So Hitler was like, you know what I'm going to do? Try and rule all of Europe with all of my friends. It's like, you stupid fucking idiot. How is that going to work? Okay? What are you, the evil Partridge family? You think you're all just going to be friends forever? What is this, the Brady Bunch? No. You're Nazis. You're pieces of shit. You're not going to trust anybody. You're going to be killed. Anyway, it's not how it ended for him, but he was murdered. Well, he killed himself. Sad. So, suicide is always sad. But yeah, I don't know. So now I just know a lot about Hitler. And when it's funny because sometimes there's so many Hitler documentaries that it's almost like its own humongous long-running TV show. When you binge a show like Seinfeld or Sopranos, where there's just so many watching hours of it, and you just, for months, you just go home and you're like, I'm going to watch this, and it's just always there. It's just, there he is again, there's Jerry. There's Jerry again, and that's what it was for me watching all these, Nazi documentaries. I'd be like, oh, there's his face again, this guy I've been watching all week, there he is. Mm-hmm. There he is, learning about it again. But, yeah, so, message me if you want to learn more about the woes, foes, and falls of Adolf Hitler and the Third Reich. Thank you for tuning in to the All Things Sports and History podcast. The Super Bowl and Nazis, really a epitome of the show itself today, I guess. Quite a standalone episode. Really, this might be the one to introduce your spouse or new partner to. You can listen to this in the car on the way up to Sonoma. Think about the Nazis and Patrick Mahomes. What are the differences? What are the similarities? Next week on Is That Race? Anyway, thank you for tuning in to the Cooper Lyden is Alone podcast. I love you so much.